From breaking world speed records to hauling impossible loads across mountain ranges, steam locomotives represent some of humanity's greatest engineering achievements. Today, we're counting down 5 of the most incredible steam trains ever built, machines that pushed the boundaries of what was possible and continue to inspire us today. Number 5. The Japanese class D51 Mikado, Japan's workhorse legend. When we think of steam locomotives, we usually picture the massive machines of America or Britain, but Japan created something truly special with the Class D51. Designed by Hideo Shima in 1936, the same engineer who would later create Japan's famous bullet trains, over 1,100 of these 282 Mikado-type engines were built between 1936 and 1945, making them an iconic symbol of Japanese rail power. Standing just under 65 feet long and weighing 123 tons, the D51 may not have been the largest or fastest locomotive, but it was perfectly suited for Japan's narrow-gauge railways. With a top speed of 55 miles per hour and a tractive effort of 41,400 pounds, these engines could haul heavy freight across Japan's varied terrain. After the war, D51 locomotives continued to serve Japan faithfully, with many operating into the 1970s during what enthusiasts called the SL boom, a period when photographers and rail fans flocked to capture these magnificent machines in triple-header configurations climbing steep mountain passes. The final D51 hauled revenue train ran on December 24, 1975, marking the end of an era. Number 4. Eleanor A4 Class Silverlink, the streamlined pioneer. In 1935, the world was obsessed with speed. The Art Deco movement celebrated sleek modern design. Into this world arrived Eleanor Class A4, number 2509 Silverlink, the very first of Sir Nigel Gresley's revolutionary streamlined Pacifics, and it would change British railways forever. On September 27, 1935, Silverlink departed King's Cross Station on a demonstration run that would make history. Hauling a complete set of matching silver coaches, this wedge-shaped masterpiece touched 112.5 miles per hour, breaking all previous British speed records. Even more impressively, it sustained an average speed of 100 miles per hour over a distance of 43 miles. This wasn't just a publicity stunt. It was proof that steam could compete with the new diesel trains grabbing headlines in Germany and America. The complete streamlined train could carry 198 passengers in articulated coaches featuring air conditioning, electric kitchens, and all the modern amenities of the era. The locomotive's distinctive streamlining wasn't just for show. The wedge-shaped nose created an updraft that lifted smoke away from the driver's vision, while internal streamlining of the steam passages increased boiler pressure to 250 psi, and larger valve diameters all contributed to exceptional performance. Painted in striking silver gray with charcoal gray and battleship gray accents, Silverlink became an instant celebrity. Its success sparked an intense speed war between the London and Northeastern Railway and their rival, the London Midland and Scottish Railway. This competition drove both companies to build faster and more powerful locomotives, ultimately leading to the creation of Mallard and the world speed record we'll discuss later. Silverlink served throughout World War II, though its glamorous silver livery was replaced with wartime black. After the war, it continued hauling express passenger trains until December 29, 1962, when modern Deltic diesel locomotives took over the East Coast Main Line. Sadly, Silverlink was not preserved. It was scrapped at Doncaster Works, the same place where it had been built 28 years earlier. As the first A4, Silverlink paved the way for 34 sisters, including the legendary Mallard. Number 3. Eleanor A4, Mallard, the fastest steam locomotive in history. If Silverlink opened the door to streamlined speed, Mallard kicked it wide open and set a record that will likely never be broken. On July 3, 1938, Eleanor Class A4 number 4468. Mallard screamed down Stoke Bank at 126 miles per hour, setting the world speed record for steam locomotives, a record that still stands today, 87 years later. Mallard was the 28th of 35 A4 class locomotives designed by Sir Nigel Gresley. Like her sisters, she featured the distinctive wedge-shaped streamlining, but Mallard had special modifications that made her ideal for the record attempt. She was the first A4 fitted with a Kyle-Chap double chimney and blast pipe arrangement, which allowed the locomotive to breathe better by drawing fire through the tubes more effectively. She also had streamlined steam passages that reduced back pressure. Crucially, all A4s were fitted with flame-in speed recorders, devices that not only showed the crew their speed, but created a paper record that could be examined later, proving any claims of high-speed running. The record run wasn't officially announced beforehand. The crew was told it was a brake test for the new Westinghouse braking system, though driver Joseph Duddington and fireman Thomas Bray, both experienced Doncaster men, knew something special was planned. The train departed from Wood Green in North London with 7 coaches and a dynamometer car packed with instruments. Engineers and Sir Nigel Gresley himself rode along to monitor every detail. The actual record attempt began at Barkston near Grantham. Descending Stoke Bank, Mallard maintained 120 miles per hour for 5 miles, shattering the previous British record. But there was a brief window before the crew needed to slow for dangerous curves at Essendine, so driver Duddington pushed even harder. The dynamometer car recorded 125 miles per hour, then 126. Passengers in the dining car reported crockery smashing from the violent rocking, and red-hot cinders from the locomotive allegedly broke windows at Little Bytham. The speed was so extreme that Mallard's middle big end bearing ran hot and nearly seized. The crew had to nurse the damaged locomotive to Peterborough for emergency repairs. Some experts believe that if Mallard had been properly prepared with correct valve clearances instead of worn ones, and if the crew had known about the attempt in advance to build up more speed and boiler pressure, the locomotive might have reached 130 miles per hour or more. After the record run, Mallard returned to normal service, hauling passenger trains during World War II and beyond. She was withdrawn from service in 1963 after covering 1,426,000 miles. Fortunately, Mallard was preserved and today resides at the National Railway Museum in York, where she is one of the museum's most popular exhibits, drawing over 800,000 visitors annually. Mallard remains the undisputed fastest steam locomotive ever built, a title she will likely hold forever as the age of steam is past. Number 2. Elner A3 Flying Scotsman, the most famous steam locomotive in the world. While Mallard holds the speed record, there's one locomotive that stands above all others in terms of fame and public affection: Flying Scotsman. Built in 1923 at Doncaster Works to a design by Sir Nigel Gresley, Flying Scotsman has been called the world's most famous steam locomotive, and for good reason. Flying Scotsman was designed as a 4-6-2 Pacific-type locomotive to haul long-distance express passenger trains on the East Coast Main Line, particularly the prestigious Flying Scotsman service connecting London King's Cross and Edinburgh Waverley. In its early years, Flying Scotsman became a flagship for the London and North Eastern Railway, representing the company at the British Empire Exhibition and becoming a symbol of British engineering excellence. On November 30, 1934, Flying Scotsman became the first steam locomotive to achieve an officially authenticated speed of 100 miles per hour while hauling a test train between Leeds and London. This achievement came 6 years before Mallard's even faster run, but it captured the public imagination and cemented Flying Scotsman's place in history. The publicity-conscious Elner made much of this achievement, using it to promote both British coal and the superiority of steam over the emerging diesel technology. Throughout its working life, Flying Scotsman covered an incredible 2.08 million miles before retirement from British Railways in 1963. But retirement was just the beginning of an even more remarkable story. In 1963, businessman Alan Pegler purchased Flying Scotsman from British Railways, beginning an extraordinary preservation adventure. The locomotive toured the United States from 1969 to 1972 and later Australia from 1988 to 1989, where it set another world record, the longest non-stop run by a steam locomotive, covering 422 miles between Parkes and Broken Hill. During the Australian tour, Flying Scotsman also set a haulage record by pulling a 735-ton train over a distance of 490 miles. These international tours brought Flying Scotsman worldwide recognition, but they also brought financial difficulties that nearly destroyed the locomotive. After passing through several owners, including William McAlpine and music producer Pete Waterman, Flying Scotsman was finally acquired by the National Railway Museum in 2004, ensuring its preservation for future generations. The locomotive has appeared in numerous films, including the 1929 film The Flying Scotsman and Disney's 102 Dalmatians. In 1966, television presenter John Noakes famously declared on BBC's Blue Peter that Flying Scotsman was the most famous steam locomotive in the world, a sentiment that resonated with 7 million viewers and has endured ever since. Today, Flying Scotsman continues to operate on special excursions, maintained by the National Railway Museum. When it runs, thousands of people line the tracks to catch a glimpse, sometimes trespassing dangerously close or flying drones overhead to capture footage. In this age of celebrity culture, Flying Scotsman has become more than a locomotive. It's a cultural icon representing the romance and power of the steam age. Number 1. Union Pacific Big Boy 4014, the largest operating steam locomotive in the world. Everything we've discussed so far has been impressive, but nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to the sheer overwhelming presence of Union Pacific Big Boy number 4014. This is not just the largest operating steam locomotive in the world. It is one of the most powerful machines ever built, period. Standing next to Big Boy is like standing next to a building. If you stood it on end, it would be as tall as a 13-story building. It weighs 1.2 million pounds, more than a fully loaded Boeing 747. It's 133 feet long, and because of that length, its frame is actually articulated, hinged in the middle to negotiate curves. The wheel arrangement is 4-8-8-4. 4 leading wheels, 8 drivers on the front engine, 8 more drivers on the rear engine, and 4 trailing wheels. 25 Big Boys were built by the American Locomotive Company between 1941 and 1944, commissioned exclusively for Union Pacific to solve a very specific problem: hauling heavy freight over the brutal 1.14% grade of Utah's Wasatch Range between Ogden and Green River. The challenge wasn't just the weight of the trains, which could exceed 6,000 tons, but maintaining speed on the grade. Union Pacific needed locomotives that could haul these massive trains without double-heading or helper operations that slowed service. The Big Boy was the answer. With a tractive effort of 135,000 pounds and 6,250 horsepower, these giants could maintain 60 miles per hour with loads that would overwhelm other locomotives. They were simple articulated locomotives, meaning high-pressure steam was used only once before being exhausted, unlike compound designs. This gave them tremendous power and reliability. Number 4014 was delivered to Union Pacific in December 1941, just as America entered World War II. It spent its working life hauling vital war materials and freight, covering over 1 million miles before retirement in December 1961. For the next 52 years, it sat on static display at the Rail Giants Train Museum in Pomona, California. Then, in 2013, Union Pacific announced an ambitious plan that rail fans thought was impossible. They were going to restore Big Boy 4014 to operating condition. Led by Ed Dickens, head of Union Pacific's steam team, the restoration was described as like resurrecting a T-Rex. The locomotive was moved to Union Pacific's steam shop in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where it was completely disassembled. The boiler alone weighs over 250 tons and required massive cranes to remove. Every system had to be rebuilt or replaced, including converting the locomotive from coal to oil firing, a conversion that had failed when tried on other big boys in the 1940s, but succeeded this time with modern technology. After 6 years of meticulous work, Big Boy 4014 steamed again on May 4, 2019, making its debut run to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Transcontinental Railroad's completion. The sight of this behemoth under its own power after nearly 60 years brought tears to the eyes of thousands who witnessed it. Today, Big Boy 4014 operates alongside Union Pacific's other steam locomotive, number 844, a 484 that has never been retired. Together, they tour across America, drawing massive crowds wherever they go. When Big Boy 4014 stops in a town, entire families camp out trackside, kids hold up drawings of trains, and people wave flags in celebration. In 2021, Big Boy completed a 10-state tour, and Union Pacific is planning an even more ambitious coast-to-coast tour for 2026 to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. Big Boy 4014 is more than a locomotive. It's a 600-ton ambassador for American history, engineering, and the spirit of innovation. As the world's largest operating steam locomotive, it represents the absolute pinnacle of what could be achieved with steam power. And there you have it, 5 amazing steam locomotives that are truly out of this world. Each of these machines pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through steam locomotive history, make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which of these 5 amazing locomotives is your favorite.